Yo, this is Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Concert App. The Concert App is an artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour and gives fans the best experience in independent live music. Now, I feel like I've made this video like 5 times, but people will keep asking me these same situations. So I'm going to break it down in a different way so that people can you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I talk a lot. So when I talk a lot, people get lost in some of it. And so I try to recut the ideas even further down. But someone asked me how to tour on a budget. So I've talked about how to tour, and I guess I've broken this down in ways. I don't know if I just didn't go into extensive enough. I even talked about my personal experience. So if you ever look at any of my other touring videos, you can kind of catch on to it. How to tour on a budget. Now, the first thing I'm gonna tell you, the easiest way to tour on a budget is to go through concert. That's the easiest way to tour on a budget, is because once you prove yourself in your city, it's easy to start getting on other shows, and then I can put you on other shows with other artists, and that makes it easier. That's with other artists that are popping in their areas, and then switch you guys out. So that makes it easier for you to go to other cities, other states, and they can come back to your city and state, and then we can just keep switching and swapping. That makes it nice and easy to tour on a budget. Like, that makes it the easiest. So then first piece of this conversation is get on the concert app, because that's the easiest way to tour on a budget. There is no way to probably do this any easier, because I did it and I used the formula myself, but I was paying for all the venues, of course. So with concert in mind, that's what I'm just going to talk with concert in mind, so you can kind of tour on a budget. Once I show that I have at least 50 fans that come to my shows in my own city, of course, I will figure out how to then get on a tour into next cities. The easiest way to keep your tour budget down is do cities that are next to you. So I always say anything under an hour from you is the same city. Anything an hour out is a different city, is a different place. So understand the populations of places around you too. So you got to understand, because every place isn't Texas or California. So then if you look at like Texas, and you could do Houston, Dallas, Austin, El Paso, San Antonio, like Fort Worth, like you can do tons of them, and they're huge cities. Places like Colorado have smaller cities, and then there's some places that don't have many cities, but like places like Colorado have smaller cities. So you're looking at stuff like Colorado Springs, of course, Denver, the main one, Pueblo, Grand Junction, Boulder, Greeley, Fort Collins, and there's a couple more. Understand how close they are, because as I've told people many a times, this is what keeps your price down of gas, and this also takes hotel out. So those are the two that really like kill a budget, are gas and hotel. And like a lot of people, like I talk to a lot of rock groups, and they get in a, they get in a van and they go from place to place. And that's what gets them, because it's like 4 or 5 of them. They have a big van that they have to use and everything like that. And then, so they're killing it on gas. And then to put that many people in a hotel or whatever, chop that down. If you go closer places, you come back home. So my logic was go to these closer places and then come back home, because then I'm only paying for the gas to the place and back, which is regular like work driving, more than likely. I'm not paying for a hotel. And by the time I hit the 5 or 6 cities that's near me like this, by the time I'm going into the 7th city that will probably be further, that I might need a hotel, I already got money stacked, because I already made money in every space. Now, of course, you need to have at least 100 to 150 fans every stop. So you're slowly growing them. And when you get to the point that you do have that in multiple of these cities, then you expand further. So then your touring can start with just like 3 cities the first time you go. Then you add one and make it 4 cities. Then the next time it's a 5-city tour. The next time it's a 6-city tour. Now, a lot of people in the industry don't call that tours or whatever, but I don't care what they talk about, because a tour is me touring around and performing in front of multiple people in different cities. They like to make it so you have to say, oh, well, he's not going state to state. Well, you don't have to go state to state. A city is a city. A performance venue is a performance venue, and there's different people. So this is a tour. So go from city to city and go like, hey, I'm going from these cities and I'm going to do 3. Then I'm going to do 4. Then I'm going to do 5. Then I'm going to do 6. By the time you get to the far out ones and the money starts having to hit, that's when you already have money stacked. So you're cutting all those prices. I even tell people sometimes, like, befriend some of these people, like like your fans are your friends in a lot of spaces. And I tell people, like, sometimes, like, if you start knowing people in some of these places, go stay with them. Like, stay at people's houses. They cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're coming up and you're moving, that is not nothing to be ashamed about. Like, you trying to make it just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to be ashamed about. You're trying. And I seen this statement the other day. It was like, when was it whack to try? Like, try. Do it. Like, it's nothing wrong with it. Stay it, but not people who might be like crazy fans or something, because something could happen to you. But if you know some people and stuff like that, use those spots. Even when you have family in other places, those are good places for you to start touring in. Like, if I was to say, like, one thing I probably missed out on is, like, I never went back to North Carolina with my family or to Virginia real heavy. I just focused on the West Coast, which I could have probably just went to North Carolina, stayed with family, or went to Virginia, stayed with family, and did that route and hit all the spots in Virginia, hit Petersburg and Richmond and Norfolk and Fayetteville and all that. And I probably could have swung that and then went to North Carolina and did Charlotte and Greensboro and all those places. Like, I probably could have replicated it easier because I would have been on the ground and I wouldn't have been held to spending money all crazy in the expenses of all that. Now, another thing, of course, with the food, I always tell people find sponsors for food, but if you can't find sponsors for food, and what I mean by finding sponsors for food, like, I would get sponsors of like food places that I knew I was gonna be in town, and I'd tell them I'd promote them, and I'd come to the town, like, I'd be like, we'll put your picture at the show and everything like that, and I'll make sure all my people come eat there before whatever. We'll have a meet and greet at your spot, anything like that, and I get free food. So then when we'd be on tour, anything like that, we'd be eating free. So, and then of course, like, I've never been good at it, but I've heard some people just pack. Like, we had a homie that the actually first dude I ever toured with, he would actually pack lunches. Because he didn't eat a lot of the stuff that was out, but he would actually pack lunches and go on tour, and he was cool with it. Once you get popping enough, you can you get riders, and we would go to some places and have riders, and we would just ask for food, because it'd be like, yo, instead of buying me all these waters and fruits and little like charcuterie boards or whatever they call it, charcuterie, whatever those are called. Hey, just give me a Popeyes meal. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut these expenses down. Cut all these expenses down. That's how you tour on a budget, yo. Like, make it easy on yourself. Make it easy on yourself. And that's what I tell people, like, all the time. I'm like, yo, I don't know what you're doing by being like, yo, if you in Denver do it, like, I got to go out to California to do this, and you're going to take a flight, and then you're going to have to fly back, and then, hey, not me. By the time I get to California, that means I already got my 10 cities in Colorado. I've already cut up to Utah and done Salt Lake and maybe Provo and St. George, and I done came down into Las Vegas, and then I done Arizona. I done went through Phoenix and Tucson, and then I done came up into California and San Diego, hit LA, go to the top, and then come home. So by the time I get to even that spot, I done made money, and I done kept my expenses low. Like, that's what I try to tell dudes, because it's like, you'll run out of money, and people jump on these tours, pay 20, 15,000, 10, 15, 20,000 to jump on these dates and can't turn over the fans. If you ain't turn over the fans, there was no reason to even go on that tour. Like, that's the honesty, is like, if you ain't seen the turnover of fans and you can't get back out there by yourself, like, I watched one of the worst situations, and like, shout out to homie, because I this is a kid that I really like, and went out on tour to a place, and I'm not gonna say anything because then everyone know either who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about. But they went out on a tour. They paid to be on a tour. They went out to this spot, and it wasn't that they couldn't turn over fans, because they're dope and people loved them, but they couldn't get back out there. And so if you can't get back out there, and people, they forget about you, and then you have to start all over. And so it's almost like a useless turnover. Like, you're kind of like, you should have been able to go, and then you have to be able to go back out there in probably, I'd say, in 3 to 4 months, you got to be back out there, because they're asking for you. They want to see you again. They want to hear the songs again. So you got to be able to do that quick. And if you can't afford to do that, that's another way. This is why you budget. That's why you budgeting. Because, see, if I did a city next to me, I can get back there. I can get back there real quick. And then if I have enough cities, then I make enough money that I can get wherever I need to get. So that's touring on a budget. That's the reality of touring on a budget. Once again, this Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean. This is brought to you by the Concert app. Concert app is everywhere right now. Well, it's not everywhere, but we're like 10, 12 states right now. So it's like, if we're in your state, definitely get on the app and start getting on shows. If we're not in your state and you get on the app and you request a show, answer the questions, and then that makes it, once I see tons of people and it shows me the demand, it makes it easier for me to get out there. If you have venues, let me know. That makes it easier for me to get shows out there and start moving out there. And if you know artists, tell everybody, get on the app, get on the app, get on the app. It's on every form of platform. Concert, get on it. If you have anything you want to hear me talk about, leave it in the comments. So like, comment, and subscribe. You already know what it is. This Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean.